Hi, this is Celeste. I'm a nationally certified interventionist. I'm a recovery coach and I'm also a family coach. And I want to talk to you today about how to create a meaningful life in recovery. And I know for myself, living through active addiction and talking to so many other people that have been through addiction, when you're in that state of drinking and using and feeling stuck and like you can't get out of that vicious cycle of addiction and the addictive behaviors, it can be a really, really dark place to be. And it can feel very hopeless and powerless. And the thought of trying to create a meaningful life can seem so overwhelming and completely undoable. Like, how can I go from being in active addiction to creating a meaningful life? So I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. And this is a process that I've done myself, and I've really seen the magic and the miracles happen. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I did it and how I share that with other people, because I think it's super, super important. And I speak for myself, but I'm hoping I speak for a lot of you too, in that when I was in that state, my mental health and my way of thinking was very jaded and very dark and very depressed, and there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of other things going on that were very, very negative. And um, I think even in and of itself was its own hell on top of the active addiction, and it's such a dark place to be. And when I start talking to people in early recovery, or sometimes even later in recovery, as a refresher, or going back and revisiting some of those things to work on doing a refresher and brushing up on some of those skills, is that we really start to work on some of the thought processes that happen. Because a lot of times, I know a lot of people say, I had the addictive thinking even before I started using. So I think it's really important when we get into early recovery to start looking at some of those thought processes that got us to where we were. And I mean, there's so many different negative thought processes that go on, and sometimes we don't even realize that they're happening, and we just get caught up in the vicious circle of it, and it just spirals out of control. And it seems like sometimes using substances or drinking is the only way to escape that hamster wheel in our head. And that's what it seems like, because you get on the hamster wheel and you can't get off, and it's just brutal. And the more you get into it, the more difficult it is to pull ourselves out of it. So this is something that we really focus on when we're taking the cognitive behavioral therapy approach to changing those thought processes. And where cognitive behavioral therapy really focuses on is how our thoughts and our mindset affects our feelings and our behaviors and eventually our outcomes, right? So it's very much this cascading effect. And then you get those negative consequences, and it almost reinforces some of those negative thought patterns that go on. And some of them are being your own worst critic, using the extreme thoughts of I must, or I never get things right, or I have to do this, or I have to do that, I have to get this perfect. These negative thought patterns are what bring us down and keep us spiraling in those addictive behaviors. And I'm sure, as you know, those thoughts are really what create our feelings, and it just weighs us down. It's like a ton of bricks on our shoulders. And so as we start to change those thought processes and our patterns of thinking, and stopping so hard on ourselves, right? The feelings and the behaviors really start to shift, and the consequences start to improve. We get the positive consequences instead of the negative consequences, and that really starts to reinforce, as you're going through this process, it starts to reinforce that maybe changing my thought patterns does work. And I've been through this process with so many clients, and unfailingly, the people that get really dedicated and really determined and really consistent on changing these negative thought program or processes about ourselves, these are the people that I really see the miracles happen. And I won't lie, it's not an easy process. It definitely takes time, work, effort, patience. You're gonna have to do the work. I'm not gonna lie. And I've even said this to clients is that I'm not asking you to do anything I haven't done myself. I've done this work myself. It's brutal. But I'm also the person that you see walking around smiling like an idiot, and I'm like, don't you want to be that person that's pissing other people off too? Like, I piss people off because I'm happy. Like, I have joy in my life. I'm walking around as a happy human being in this life, even though my life isn't perfect. Like, don't you want to be that person where everybody looks at you and says, what an asshole walking around happy all the time? How annoying is that? So you're going to get to this point where you've got such happiness and joy and meaning in your life that you're going to piss other people off. And good for you. Amen. I love pissing people off with my happy because it means that I'm doing something right. It's better than pissing people off, living in the garbage and the chaos and the destruction of living in those addictive behaviors. But I think especially when you're caught up in that hamster wheel of addiction and the negative thought patterns and all the icky emotions that go with it, it's really hard to see the way out. But the thing is that, with doing a recovery coaching program, you're going to have support, you're going to have encouragement, you're going to have people to support you along the way. So if you're that person who feels like you're stuck in that dark hole and can't get out, I hope you'll reach out. I hope you'll contact me. You can even contact me through direct messenger. We can have a bit of a conversation. If this sounds like something that you want to do, having to do the work, you're going to have to do the work. I guarantee you it's going to be work. But I also will let you know that the rewards that you're going to reap from this is a meaningful life, happy, joyous, free, peaceful, free of chaos. It's not going to be perfect, but for the most part, you're going to see dramatic improvements and increases in your happiness from where you are in that black hole of addiction. So I'm going to post more details in the caption. If you want to apply for my recovery coaching program and start doing the work to become annoyingly happy like I am, fill out the application. We'll do a phone conversation or a Zoom conversation, and we'll start building an individualized program for you. This isn't like a computer generated cookie cutter program where it's just going to be a one size fits all. It's going to be very much individualized and customized to you, because not everybody has the same history, not everybody has the same mental health concerns, drug of choice, length of use, all those things. So it's going to be customized for you. Fill out the application. Let's get on the phone and talk about creating your happy. Have a good night, everybody.